July, the scene switched to Teesside for the 100-mile championship. And what a great last-minute job local officials did to provide the Cleveland Wheelers with an emergency course due to roadworks. It meant that 25 roundabouts had to be negotiated, and so the Teesside fraternity turned out in force to help the promoting club put on a good championship. Number one off was local heroine Mary Dawson, who won the BBAR way back in 54 and 55 and is still producing marvellous performances, although it was a much younger rider, Katie Allen, who picked up her first individual title by winning the 50 championship ahead of Maria Lawrence and Maxine Johnson 2 weeks before. Christine Minto was on the start sheet this time in a small field of only 21 women, 31 years after the first of her 3 competition records at 24 hours. Former 100 champion Liz Milne was at number 16, hoping to do it again, but with only Kathy Platts for company, there'd be no team title this time. Behind her came the new 50 champion Katie Allen, daughter of Margaret, the former BBAR. Allen took the bronze medal in this longer distance 3 years earlier. Could she now pull off a great double? With defending champion Jill Reams a non-starter, still not with enough miles in her legs after her early season illness, it was on to the men, with 98 of them on the card. For them, this title race came 3 weeks after Ian Butcher had topped 500 miles to take his second 24-hour championship, and 7 days after Team Bright had returned to RTTC action to take the Team Time Trial Championship by a clear margin from Gilks' Ambrosia men and Team Clean. That's Guru's Brian Walker negotiating one of the many roundabouts on the course before retiring during the second half of the event. And that's Halifax's veteran Tim Horton, suffering a delay at the same point. Only a relatively short section of the A19 was available because of the roadworks. This is local man Graham Sturzaker showing the way with an eventual 4:1:16. There he is again on one of the toughest stretches of Minor Road. Incredibly, he was gaining on the man 2 minutes ahead of him, Guru's Harry Walker. And whilst Walker looked good here, he later joined his brother as one of 11 non-finishers. Going better, though, was Richard Preble in only his second ever 100. At half distance, where Ian Gilks was a surprise leader in 1:49.6, Preble was just 14 seconds adrift in second place. Leo's Gary Dighton was a touch off the pace at halfway with a 1:54 like Harry Walker, and he followed the Walker brothers soon afterwards with an early return to headquarters. Former champion Gethin Butler, though, was having no such problems. Here we see him passing Paul Fountain of the Cleveland Coureurs. His halfway time of 1:50.50 was third fastest so far, behind Gilks and Preble. Butler won this title in 92 and 93 and came here as the current 12-hour champion after a brilliant ride on his adopted local roads of Lancashire in 1997. Minutes behind Butler came the tall figure of Keith Murray of the Army Time Trial team. Murray is the world military record holder for the hour and is a former BBAR top 12er. But a halfway time of 1:54.33 had him over 5 minutes down on Gilks. Another 5 minutes down the field came Team Clean's Sean Yates, still smarting from only taking the bronze medal in the 50 behind Gilks and Preble. He was looking really good here and clocked an excellent 1:50.19 at half distance to go into third place ahead of Butler. Meanwhile, the St. Budo man, Alan Ryder, went on to an excellent 3:56.1 at the finish for an eventual 10th place, whilst Cannon Sports' Rowan Horner was well up at half distance with 1:53.36. But here's our first look at the defending champion Kevin Dawson. The Ambrosia man was going well and got to 50 miles in 1:49.29, into third place behind Jilson Preble, but with only 23 seconds covering all three. Back to the women now, and here's Swaledale's Karen Steele on her way to a 4:20.47, which put her top of the leaderboard, although it wasn't to be for very long. 10 minutes behind her was the fast-improving Scottish rider, Andrea Pogson, and she'd been steadily gaining on Steele all the way round. And here is the Scottish double champion, turning a halfway time of 2:06.15 into a finishing time of 4:12.52, having given everything she had over the second half to fight off a great effort from Katie Allen, who started just 2 minutes behind her. It gave Pogson the lead, and she wouldn't have long to wait to see if it had been enough to beat the Yorkshire woman. And here's Allen, fresh from her triumph in the 50. At halfway in this championship, she'd clocked 2:05.24, 51 seconds faster than Pogson, with only Karen Steele looking likely to challenge. But Pogson had been clawing it back over the second half, and try as Allen did, she couldn't stop her rival overhauling her. At the line, she'd done 4:13.44, almost a minute slower than Pogson, and good enough only for the silver medal. The women's title had gone north of the border. Anne Plant, who'd now become a World Masters champion, soldiered on to help Swaledale to yet another team title. Her 4:26.52 was fifth fastest at the end of the day. But Plant was tipped by the former 100 champion Liz Milne, whose 4:21.22 wasn't quite good enough for a medal. Milne's Colville teammate Kathy Platts was sixth fastest with 4:32.55, but they lacked a third rider on this occasion after taking the team title at this distance 4 times in the previous 5 seasons. One of the early men in the field was Ambrosia's Mark Lovett, who, like Gilts, was not known for his long-distance rides against the watch. But here he was, ploughing through the women's field to clock a personal best 3:50.34 and set a high standard on this emergency course with its multitude of roundabouts. Now, who said that road racers haven't got the bottle for time trials? Back to the women once more, and this is Sue Gray, the former BBAR. The 1997 silver medalist wasn't doing too badly at 50 miles, but took a hammering over the second half to clock a disappointing 4:45.16, including 2 unscheduled stops. Afterwards, she said it simply wasn't her day. This is Julie Blythe of Melton Olympic. She was well down on Gray at half distance, but overhauled her to clock 4:44.22 for an eventual 8th place. Chippenham and District Anne Wooldridge wasn't drinking in the scenery as the course skirted around the North York moors, although at the end of the day she only just scraped inside evens with a time of 4:59.10. One note for all distance riders on what proved to be a nice warm day: 3 bottles. This is Swaledale's third counter, Sue Parrott. With Jill Reams not starting, the other 3 all had to finish, or no team prize would be awarded for the first time since 1979. Happily, Parrott clocks a satisfying 4:43.1 for 7th place, and the title was theirs for a second time. And so back to Christine Minto. Earlier we saw her timing the men's 25. Here she was completing the women's 100 with an evenly paced ride of 5:1:53. Back to the men though, and here's Jeff Platt, having clocked 1:54:33 at halfway, over 5 minutes down on Gilks, Preble and Dawson. The veteran who won this title in 1994 was not having one of his best days here and went on to record a time of 3:51:20, which would eventually place him 8th. By now, he'd caught his 10-minute man, Tim Horton, another veteran. The Halifax man was wilting in the heat, though, and the halfway time of 1:58:29 became a full distance time of 4:13:7. No signs of any wilting from Preble, though. He too went past Horton in the later stages and was still going like a train. As Gilks began to fade, the team clean man went from strength to strength and finished with an excellent time of 3:42:47 as Gilks slipped to a 3:49:21. Preble was the new leader. Butler, meanwhile, was also going well and had now overhauled Gilks. The Norwood Paragon man, twice a winner of the BBAR, went on to record 3:46:9 to put himself into second place on the leaderboard. But 10 minutes behind him, former Tour de France star Sean Yates was going even better. Still smarting from that narrow defeat by Dawson 12 months earlier, when the Yorkshireman won by just 14 seconds, he was trying desperately to go one better. But whilst finishing one place above Butler again, he couldn't match Preble, clocking 3:45:26. Rowan Horner, meanwhile, had been chasing the leaders all morning and was doing a good ride. But with this level of competition, even a time of 3:48:59 was not good enough for a place on the podium, and it was now obvious that only the defending champion Dawson could topple Preble. This is the Army man Keith Murray again, now struggling to beat 4 hours and suffering the embarrassment of being caught for 15 minutes by Dawson. By now, it wasn't the heat of the day causing problems. Light rain had begun to fall. Murray didn't crack 4 hours this time. It took him just 15 seconds more than that to get round this Teesside course. Local man Darren Oliver was also unfortunate in that respect. The Midridge man clocked 4:0:49 for an eventual 13th place, one behind Murray, as all eyes at the finish looked up the road to see if Dawson could unseat Preble from his perch at the top. And here is Dawson, now hoping to keep his visor clear of the raindrops now falling. He'd been 9 seconds behind Preble at halfway as they both trailed Gilks, but with Dawson's Ambrosia teammate now out of the reckoning, it was all down to the Doncaster man. With the finish in sight, he was striving to win for the second year in succession, but at the line, the watch stopped at 3:42:52. Preble had got it by a scant 5 seconds, the closest ever margin in this title race, with last year's 3 medalists finishing in the same order behind him.